So you need the that must have been an community. Very motivated of other was it better among me among all was he is be like a and the diet of education was bubble and for the for the in India would be in you more over
So thank you, Anand. As mentioned, my name is Arman Ali. I'm the Executive Director of NCPEDP, and we are a non-profit organization working to promote inclusion of people with disability in India in education, employment, accessibility, policy. Anything that you see that whether it is elections, whether it is political participation, we have been working from last 3 decades to promote inclusion of disability into the mainstream. And so we try to create awareness, we try to create evidence to change policy to include disabled people. And that is what we do at NCPTP. We are a non-profit organization based out of Delhi. We have partners across the country. We run the National Disability Network, where we have partners across the country. We run a scholarship, we run a fellowship for youth with disability. We run 2 awards, which where we recognize employers and also people who are promoting accessibility. So, in a nutshell, this is what NCPEDP does.
but but in my room the law and
No, I think this is what I have been doing from last 2 decades. Before joining NCPEDP, I was working with another organization in Guwahati. The similar role. This is more of a national role. I thought NCPEDP has a larger role to play, and taking responsibility of the organization was important, and that's how I took the role.
what the sum of the bill and you pay in for the life.
I think the biggest challenge is that there is acute lack of awareness about disability in general. And when you talk of disability in the context of rights, people don't look at disability as a rights issue. It is look more of a charity and a welfare issue. So that's one of the biggest challenge when you want to talk of development and participation. You face a lot of barriers, and I think that is the biggest challenge with disability.
Although um in the made
So you, from the last 30 years, if you look at disability movement, so we have been instrumental in having the legislation in place, making elections accessible, making reservation in UPSC, including disability in the census. And now we are talking about the national education policy, inclusion of disability into the national education policy. If you look at, the current Supreme Court order where NCPEDP is contributed the highest number to the Supreme Court in terms of evidence. We have raised awareness around disability across the country through various means. So all that has created a lot of impact in lives of disabled people across the country.
how do you measure the of the in
I think it's a glass half full. There is a lot that is need to be done. You see a lot of noise in disability in urban areas. Disabled people are able to speak for themselves. The times have changed. You see a lot of disability inclusion initiative in corporates. You see the prime minister talking about disability all the time. You see the para sports has done well in last 10 years. You see accessibility in big places like the malls, some of the hotels, cinemas are becoming accessible. So there is a glass half full, but there is a lot that is need to be done. Public transport yet need to become accessible. Education is higher education remains a challenge for disabled people, but we have moved forward. We have seen a lot of change in UPSC. You see every year, quite a few people with disability are able to, compete and get their position.
for me in
I think there's a need to create awareness, about disability in all spheres of life, and not just social welfare and from product to services to accessibility, employment. I think everything that is happening in the country must have a disability component. It must have inclusion, and disability cannot be an afterthought. So I think that is the biggest challenge that we have, and that is where we need to improve. Disabled people themselves are not aware about their rights and entitlement, so that kind of hinders their participation in a big way. So self awareness of disabled people remains a challenge that is needs to improve a lot. The youth with disability need to come forward, build their capacity, engage um, with all the stakeholders, do what is need to be done.
the government is support over like in
See, the DPWD, the Department of Empowerment of Persons with Disability, is doing well. It is always doing something new. There are a lot of initiative that has come up. It is also supporting or NGOs. Not they collaborate wherever they can with NCPEDP, but there is still a lot that is need to be done. The other ministry has to play their role. The department is doing a lot, and I am very appreciative of all that they are doing. But all the ministries need to do their bit, like the education ministry, the urban development and transport, Ministry of Finance, civil aviation, railways, rural development. Everybody needs to do their bit, and that is needs a lot of improvement, Anand.
what part or in doing of music.
I think there is a lot of policy change that is required in terms of including disability. Uh, Disabled people are paying a lot of tax, but they are not getting anything out of the public services. Education needs a lot of change. Inclusive education need to promote. Employment needs a lot of thing investment. I think infrastructure of the country needs to change. It has to become accessible. After the Supreme Court order in November of 2024, I think making accessibility a fundamental right. So there's a lot of work that is need to go into to improve the infrastructure, transport system, and education system of the country. So that work is still in progress, and I think disabled people need to play a leadership role to build their understanding and engage with the stakeholders to be a participant in changing the country to be more inclusive and not just be a mere spectator to wait and look at how it is being done as an outsider.
eh, how the para me pone en
I think private sector responded in terms of the multinational company and large corporations want to employ disabled people. What they need to do this is to take it to the next step of smaller towns, cities, smaller corporations, looking at making their products and services more accessible. So that's the gap. Is only looking at disabled people from an employment point of view is not really helping. There's a need to bring the lenses of a consumer. Disabled people and their family members are also consumers of many products and services, and those also needs to be more accessible, and it will add to their businesses. That is where the gap remains.
our company become more aware when
Yes, of course. There is a little more awareness than what it used to be earlier. They are proactive in terms of making their organization more disabled friendly, but there's a lot more that needs to be done. This is still at a large corporation level. The discourse has to move next.
you see how the book what what the
Yes, we do. We do reach out to various organizations from time to time, and we have got a good response.
what kind of people do you get?
So it's a positive response most of the time. The most number of time, it's a positive response only.
Uh, how helpful is anybody here in how business will be able to
No, no, not much. Just the beginning. I think if you look at entertainment, you see Netflix. Look at international such organizations are able to provide entertainment which is accessible. If you look at IPL, they have a commentary which is subtitle and the sign language. If you look at some of the hotels, some malls, they are maybe inaccessible. But the production services still needs to go a long way to make themselves accessible. It is just the beginning, I would say.
help people about how getting life or help people if it is beautiful be be able but are the big barriers.
I think a compliance with the law is the biggest barrier. The private sector companies are not looking at disabled people as a client for their insurance, and again, there's a lack of awareness about disability, which leads to denial of insurance for people with disability. So again, government should introduce some scheme where disabled people can be part of the Ayushman Bharat scheme, and not just struggle on an everyday basis to get life and health insurance. So there's a huge gap and a lot of work that is need to be done.
That always help over and be better or that it is serious.
I I don't know, how do I measure? I think it's again, initial stages. Disabled people need to know about insurance. They have to apply. Insurance has to become affordable for disabled people. So all that remains a challenge, and these are very initial stage, and a large number of people need to join in into this campaign and movement and ask questions.
what are some behaviors make it easier for people to get involved?
I don't know. I mean, they have to apply and engage, and if there is a denial, they have to sensitize, fight it out. It's not an easy way. I think they should apply. There is a scheme which every insurance company has introduced. They have to, uh, you know, they have to engage, apply, and explain. And if there is a rejection, then fight that out.
I saw you need the that might have been an uncommitted.
No, always I have interacted with Mr. Shashi Tharoor from 5 7 times in last 5 6 years in various events and capacity. He's a learned parliamentarian. It is always fun and constructive conversations each time I meet him.
Would like any memorial moment from the
No, I have been interacting with a lot of members of parliament because we have formed a parliamentary, members of parliament forum for people with disability, and there's no memorable moment. I think everybody whom I meet, they want to support disability, they want to know more. So these are very exciting time, and it gives me a lot of hope, and it motivates me to do more. And Shashi Tharoor in particular has been a strong supporter, like the other leaders of various parties. Everybody is coming forward and trying to learn more and do more. So that's quite exciting, and it challenges us to do more.
the that I would like to hear your on the audio and how it would have been better.
No, I think this is good. I think it's been seamless. I could very easily, talk to you, respond to your questions. It's a very, particularly with persons with cerebral palsy and speech distortion, this is an excellent tool to communicate.
Thank you so much. I want I for joining up with
Thank you so much, Anand. All the best.
bye for now.
Bye bye.